Hi there. The English Premier League is back, and I'm so excited. Looking forward to the fact that I'm going to be bringing all these actions to you. I'm going to be giving you the scores and telling you about some of the stories that are emanating from the English Premier League. We all are looking forward to this beautiful game. And starting in the English Premier League this season, the first week of the English season was a very entertaining one. Entertaining in the sense that we have some of our best African footballers, doing us proud in the English Premier League in the person of Mohamed Kudus and Semenyo. Of course, not forgetting the talisman, the Liverpool talisman, Mohamed Salah. So we have now three guys that we're looking forward to. Although we have a lot of African footballers that are representing us in the English Premier League. However, the few that did very well in the first week of the English Premier League are the ones that I'm talking about today. And the first week was just, filled with a lot of fun activities, filled with stories, that we don't want to hear, and some of the stories that we want to hear. And the first match took place between the reigning champions Liverpool and Bournemouth, and it was a game that was marred with a lot of actions, goals, and also the controversial topics and stories that were coming from that game. We had one of our African players, Semenyo, who scored 2 goals against Liverpool, was abused. And, this is something that we always talk about, right? At what point are we going to accept diversity and start living together as one instead of insulting each other? Semenyo suffered racist attack in that game, and he responded on the pitch, scoring 2 goals. Although they did not win, but the response from him to a lot of us was just something that a lot of people were excited about. He did not mind whatever it is that were happening with the fans and himself, but he scored 2 goals, and the performance was an outstanding performance from a player who is playing for Bournemouth and representing the African continent. In another match also that took place in the English Premier League was a match between Tottenham Hotspur and Burnley. Tottenham finished 16th last season on the table, and they are looking like a team that actually want to participate in the Premier League and, if possible, win it. I mean, somebody will say it's too early for me to say that, right? Because the league just started, and the first week is when you know how you're going to move forward. And the first week getting 3 points is everyone's dream, especially some of the teams that struggled last season. Getting 3 points in your first game will build a momentum that will give the players that motivation that they are going to participate and also continue with that form. And we saw another African player who played very well in that game. That was Mohamed Kudus of Ghana. He is representing the African continent rather on a very positive note in the English Premier League, and we are so excited. Having a player, he's building a connection with Richarlison. This is a guy that was coming from the bench when they had the likes of Son and Hurricane. However, now he is going to build a connection. Are we now going to see a Hurricane and Son replicate themselves in Kudus and Richarlison? Well, it is too early for us to say, but I'm telling you, Kudus' performance, his skills, his assist to Richarlison is something that everyone is talking about. The guy is just too good. It's looking like Spurs got themselves a great deal with this guy moving from West Ham to Tottenham Hotspur. So they won that game 3-0 against Burnley, who just came from the championship. So I mean, it's too early. Like I said, it's too early. The first week you need to get going. Another team also that is looking like a team that is saying, you know what, we're not just here to add numbers, we're here to make sure that we win matches. That is Sunderland. Sunderland played against the West Ham, and it was a game that a lot of people were looking forward to. In that game, another record that was set by a guy called Ronaldo. Ronaldo is from Mozambique, and he became the first player from that nation to represent them in the English Premier League. The first Mozambican player to play in the English Premier League is Ronaldo at the age of 31, and it was an outstanding performance from him. Coming at the age of 31, being the first player from his nation to play in the English Premier League, it was just something that a lot of people were excited about. Sunderland signed 5 African footballers, and so far they are looking like a team that want to stay in the English Premier League. They also came from the championship. They're now playing in the English Premier League, winning the way they won against a West Ham side shows that they want to stay in the English Premier League, and you can't take that away from them. We have to give it to them. It was an excellent performance from the Sunderland players and winning that game against West Ham side. Another team also that is looking like a team that want to win this season. It seems Manchester City, they've had enough, of not winning. Enough. A season without a trophy, a season without the Premier League. I mean, in recent years, they used to win year in, year out. But these last season, they lost to Liverpool. And it seems they want to make sure that they come back and reclaim that championship. So they played away to Wolverhampton. It was an excellent performance, winning away against Wolverhampton 4-0. It was just a performance that I'm sure Pep Guardiola will be excited about, because the players were not so so good last season. They lost in the league, they lost the cups, they lost in the Champions League, they lost everything. So coming into this season, they have nothing to worry about but to make sure that they reinforce, which is something that they did, and they'll be able to fill in the loopholes in the team and compete in the English Premier League. In another match that there was so much expectation from this team is a team that won the Conference League last season. They won the World Club competition, and coming into a game against the Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace also in that last 139 years, they did not win a trophy, right? But they won now 2 trophies. They defeated they won the FA Cup rather against Manchester City. They won the Community Shield against Liverpool. So they're giant killers, if I can put it that way. Playing against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, it was going to be tough, but a lot of expectations were on Chelsea, of course, because the performance that they put in recent years, beating PSG in the World Club competition final. A lot of people are beginning to think that these guys are capable of competing for every trophy this season. One, we argue though, that this is just the first game of the season, but you have to start from somewhere and you have to start getting points against smaller teams. I mean, we're not judging anybody, we're not criticizing anybody, but I'm just saying, starting the league, and the Chelsea fans and the players will argue though that fatigue set in. The players are tired from not getting enough rest, no preseason that much. They only played 2 matches, remember. After club work competition, there was no enough time for them to get the rest that they deserved, coming into these competition, this league, this season. So they started against Crystal Palace at home, and it was a goalless draw. That game was a game where Crystal Palace looked like a team that wanted it more. They were 13. The 13 Chelsea, in the final third, but a goal scored by Eze. The free kick was disallowed. So they ended that game goalless. I'm sure the players are not going to be too hard on themselves because they have achieved a lot in recent times, and the season just started. So like I said, we are not going to judge anyone based on the first game of the season. We have to wait until the season get to the mid. At least when you play like 5 matches, then you start understanding the players, the new players that are coming in, how you are going to shape your team, and your best 11 also that you're going to stick to and continue the season with. So far, we are not judging anybody, but we're just analyzing the performances that took place from these great teams. In another match that we're going to be talking about, and this is also a game that I believe a lot of us were looking forward to. One, we're looking forward to the new signings that came in. They highly, talked about players that were signed from both teams. Talking about Arsenal and Manchester United. Arsenal signed that guy, Gyökeres, who came from Sporting Lisbon. This guy was on strike simply because he wanted to join Arsenal and perform for Arsenal, and played also in the English Premier League. Remember, it's the most popular league in the world. So every player that is fighting to get into this team, you cannot blame them. You need to also understand the money is good, but also the fame is also good, and they want to be seen. So this guy fought his way to Arsenal Football Club, and a lot of Arsenal players and fans are excited that they finally have a striker who is going to prepare them to winning the English Premier League. So they played against a Manchester United also that signed Mbeumo, they signed Konya, and they also signed Sesko. So going into this team, into this game, a lot of people were looking forward to the fact that Manchester United and Arsenal want to see how they're going to participate, how they're going to perform, and how they're going to be able to participate in the tournament that are going to be involved in this season. So it was a game that was intense. It was a game that was so it was so interesting to watch. It was I'm particularly excited for the Manchester United new signing because they look so sharp, and they were troubling Arsenal team. It was unfortunate that they weren't able to get a goal and something out of the game, as Arsenal won that game 1-0. But it was a game that for me, I'm excited with. I'm so happy for the two teams, looking at their desire to play and the hunger that they had going into that game. I feel like this game is actually going to this season is actually going to be an interesting one. The glamour that is going to come with these games is going to be something that a lot of us are looking forward to, and I'm going to be getting so excited every week just talking about it, because we want to see these players do what they do best. We want to see these teams, we want to see the fans, we want to see the banter that is coming from the different fans around the world. How they're going to be getting excited, how it's going to be crying. All those things are just things that make this beautiful game very interesting to watch and also to talk about. And it was a game that I'm sure Arteta will be excited with his team going to Old Trafford and getting 3 points in the first match. That will boost the morale of the players going into this first season. So could this be the season that Arsenal are going to finally win the Premier League, or will it just going to be a season that they're going to bottle it again and then wait for another season? Like I said, it's too early for us to sort of condemn any team. But what I'm saying now is that every team is looking like they have that hunger to win, and that is just what we want to see. We want to see the competition. We don't want to see lazy players. We don't want to see games that is full of fighting and all that. But the fight should be on the pitch, fight to win, not fight to injure players and end their careers. All right. After this short break, we'll continue. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that short break. Let's take a look at some other matches also in the soccer highlights for today. Nottingham Forest played against the Brentford, and it was a game also that a lot of us were looking forward to, because these teams are selling and buying players. So when you are selling and buying players, your fans are expecting a lot from you, especially when you sign quality players. And Nottingham Forest signing a lot of players this season and also letting players go. People were expecting them to at least shine, and they did not disappoint. They played against a Brentford side who sold Mbeumo, and remember another player also is fighting to leave the club. So going into this match, Nottingham Forest showed that they wanted it more than anything else, and that was exactly what they did. They won that game 3-1. All right, moving into the Spanish League. The Spanish League is back, and we had Barcelona, the reigning champions, played against Mallorca. It was a tough game for Barcelona, but it was a tough game for the home side, as they set a record, receiving 2 red cards in the first half of the match. 2 red cards were shown to Mallorca players for the rough tackle. I know that. And when you're playing against a team like Barcelona, you should be very careful, because number one, they're at advantage. They're a big club. They have quality players who are going to manipulate every situation. So you have to be very careful how you play against them. And America did not just they were not careful. Let me put it out. They were not careful. So they got 2 red cards against the Barcelona, and they lost to Barcelona 3-0. Rashford making his debut there for Barcelona. He did not score, but it was a great performance, and also to see him enjoying his football once again. In Germany, Bayern Munich won their Super Cup, beating Stuttgart 2-1. Harry Kane waited until he was in his 30s to win his first trophy, and now he got his hands on 2 trophies, making it just the 2 trophies. A great player. A lot of us were crying for this guy to leave Tottenham Hotspur so that he would start winning, and he did not disappoint going to Bayern Munich. When you play for a great team, that is what I always talk about. When you play for a great team, chances of you winning trophies are very high. I'm playing for Bayern Munich under Vincent Kompany, former Manchester City player. He is now winning, and they got 2 trophies. So it's a good start for Bayern Munich going into the new season. Hopefully they're going to retain their league, and also Harry Kane will be looking forward to also on the personal level also do very well for his team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this short soccer highlight with myself, Amy Akura. The league is back. We're excited. We're looking forward to everything that is going to be happening in the game of soccer in Europe and also on the African continent as the CHAN 2025 continues, with Nigeria disappointing a lot of people. However, we're going to be watching it anyway. All right, until I come your way again with your soccer highlight in the world of soccer, stay tuned.